Good morning, everyone. Super happy to be here. And thanks, Sophie, for the invitation. So we're going to talk a little bit about trust in photography, or trust and photography. First, I'm going to talk a little bit about myself and what I do and how I came to photography. And then I'm going to talk to you about what trust is for me in my daily life as a photographer. And I'm going to show you a few examples how I adapted the things that I'm talking about and how trust comes between the person behind the camera and the person in front of the camera. And at the end, we can still talk a little bit if you have some questions. So I was born and raised in Fribourg, not far from here. My dad is a retired architect and my mom is, how do you say that? Selling books. I'm not sure, bookseller? Yeah. And I have two older brothers. In 2007, I moved to Lausanne to live and study here. I studied industrial design at ECAL. And so my major was industrial design, but I chose it so I could also have some snippets of graphic design and photography as minors. It was really interesting studying here, learned a lot. It was really hard 4 years, but we had amazing teachers and a really good class. So that's kind of the first time I got in touch with photography at that time. And after my studies, when I graduated, I moved to Paris in 2011. It was planned to stay just for an internship for 6 months, but it turned out to be 3 years. Industrial design is quite a kind of technical job, so there's not many women doing this because it's just a lot of 3D, a lot of industry, a lot of visiting factories. And so there's not many women doing this, and I absolutely wanted to work for Yona Vautrin, which is one of the biggest industrial designer. Wherever she was, if she would have been in Tokyo, I would have gone there. So we really hit it off really well, and so I just decided to stay for another 2 years or extra 2 years before kind of missing the Alps and nature and wanting to have a bit of a smaller city, let's say. And so I moved back to Switzerland in 2013, and I decided to go to Zurich because that was kind of, for me at that time, the most interesting city in Switzerland. The plan was to start my own company at that time, but I got hired by On. I don't know if you know them, the running shoes. Yeah. And it was really still a small company, totally different from now. I think I was employee number 12 or something like that. And I just got hired to actually build the design team. So find cool people that do amazing things, not in terms of shoe design, but in terms of communication design. And one part was building the team of my job, and the other part of my job was to really define the language of the company. So how do we look in stores? How do we look on the website, on presentations, in social media, and so on? It was really interesting, intense 3 years. And then when the company really started to hit off, I was like, okay, this is not my thing anymore. I want to stay small kind of thing, and started my own company in 2016. And so my services since then, or at that time in 2016, my services were graphic design and art direction. My ex-partner with whom I was at that time is a photographer, so we did a lot of photographing or like shootings together. He was holding the camera and I was just kind of directing and telling people what to do, what to wear, how to move. So again, I was there in touch with photography, but not doing it myself. And then in 2000, I think it was 20, I moved to Bern, where I still live now. And my first son was born in 21. Yeah, fall 21. And it really bugged me that I couldn't take good pictures of him. It was kind of frustrating. So I just, my husband very kindly gifted me a camera, and I just did an online course about photography and just to learn the techniques and the whole kind of business side of photography and just to master the camera, actually. And I was like, oh my God, this is so cool. Like, why didn't I do this earlier? So it really hit off then. And first just photographing friends and family. And then in early 22, I added that to my portfolio and communicated that I also actually take photos of people officially. And that's where we are now. So next to work, I mean, I really, really love working. I think if I didn't have a family, I would just do that. So next to that, we're often outside with the kids. I do a lot of yoga and I love cooking. And I do all year, swimming in the Aare, in our river in Bern. And I love to listen to podcasts just to kind of get inspired by other people and hear what other people are doing. So I work about 60 to 70% out of the house, let's say. And so 30% is graphic design still. I'm not doing photography 100%. Most of my clients for graphic design are really small companies or people that are starting their own thing, starting their own business and just want to have a nice logo or just look sharp from day one. So that kind of includes everything from logo to, packaging, website, whatever they need. And the other part since early 22 is photography, like I said before. So I mainly do portraits. Finally, I think 90% of my clients are women and like business women or women who have their own thing, their own hobby, their own company. So I get a lot of requests from them. I also do some product photography like you see on the left or interior, if let's say for a magazine or for blogs and stuff like that. I occasionally get requests from families that are like, they want to document kind of their kids' life or their life as a family, or if there's a new addition to the family, I also do that. So trust for me is actually the secret ingredient to make a great portrait or a great image of someone. Of course, nowadays, trust in photography can be seen or talked about in many ways. Like, can we trust that this image is real? And is it only real if it's made with a camera? Or can it also be real if it comes out of a computer? So the topic is really wide, but I decided to talk to you about what trust is for me in photography and how do I gain trust of the person who I have to photograph. Because let's say the starting point when I have to photograph someone is 9 out of 10 times not great. Like, I get it because now I have 2 cameras on me. I'm like, oh, I don't like it. I get it. It's like most of the time I hear things like, I don't like myself on pictures, or I have a bad hair day, I don't feel confident, I don't feel great. Or this one here, I have to be here because my boss wants new images of us, of the team, but I really don't want to be here. So that's like, okay, how do I change this situation? So first, to gain trust, what I do, if I start on the left, is kind of to choose the location really well. If it's a creative person, it's really easy because most of the time it will be in his or her studio. That's a space where the person feels really comfortable. And if that person is not a creative person or doesn't have an office, I will just propose some locations like a really nice coffee place, or we can go in a park, or just a place that is cozy and feels really good for the person. And so that makes already half of the image. I feel if the person feels comfortable in the space, then the image is half done. And then I also get to know the person. Let's say we have a few emails back and forth, and then we have maybe a phone call. And I also make sure if we don't have a phone call, if it's just digital, I make sure to send that person a voice message from me just before the shooting, just to tell her, so just the person can hear my voice. I think that makes a big difference. And then when I come, I never take out the camera in the first 15 to 30 minutes because I feel that's a bit too pushy, and we just have a coffee or a drink before, just so the person gets to know me or we get to know each other and just kind of chat at the beginning. I also make sure that the person takes 2 or 3 different outfits that she or he really likes. I'm sure you all know that, or you've experienced that if you wear something new or something that you really like, it gives you like a little boost of self-confidence. So I make sure that that person takes these things with her, and that he or she also has options, like short sleeves, long sleeve, more summery things and more winter things. So she and he can use these images all year round, because it's kind of an investment that person is doing to kind of have pictures taken. So I feel like it's better if he or she can have pictures that, he can post on Instagram or on the website or whatever, and they're still fitting the season. And then if you're working with a model, you don't have to direct anything. The person just does his or her job. But most of the time I don't have models in front of the camera, so I have to direct the person. And so it's just a thing. I actually constantly work when I constantly talk when I take pictures with the person. I ask questions. What are you doing? Tell me about your job. Tell me about your passion. And I also direct, like, sit down, put your hands there, look outside, put your hair like behind your ears, anything like that. So because most of the time it's obvious. I do the same. You just stand there and they say, tell me what to do. Yeah, of course, I tell you what to do. And then we just spend a good morning together, and I just guide them so they look good on the pictures. And then at the end, I think it's just a thing of catching those moments, and just when all these things align and the light is also good, then that's when the magic kind of happens. So I'm going to show you a few examples. These 3 portraits are are people that I know before the shooting. So on the left, a friend, my brother, and a previous neighbor. So Natalia is someone who's really sparkly and outgoing and super creative and funny. So that's it's just kind of spending a really cool morning with her, joking around, and in between I just take photos. Like I said before, I mostly constantly work talk when I take pictures, and that doesn't make it easy with the mouth, right? If you talk and then there's a picture taken, then most of the time the mouth looks a bit weird. So I have to take a lot of pictures for that. But that means that at some point I get the right kind of pose or the right kind of moment in between. And there's often also a moment where they just listen to me, and just some magic happens between the person and myself. And my brother, he's my brother, so he's obviously kind of comfortable. He just standing or sitting there. Again, here we were talking a lot. I chose the location, which was kind of a co-working / cafe place. And I just told him, take your favorite shirts, 2 or 3 shirts, and that's it. And Anna, here on the right, I think we were photographing maybe for an hour before that portrait happened. She was at the beginning really nervous, but still there was this kind of trust already there, because we've known each other for quite some years. And at the end, I think it's hard to say what it really was there, but I think at some point she just really got relaxed during the shooting, and that's when this picture was taken. In these 3 images, Rocio, or some of you know Rocio, but these 3 images, I didn't know them before, but the location was really important. So Elise on the far left is really into design, and she really enjoys furniture design. So what I kind of rent their space or just do a photo shooting in their space, because then I felt like she would be in her environment. She knows the store and she likes all these things that are around. So that would already make her feel comfortable. And then it was just a matter of choosing which outfit and look at the light, and then that picture happened. And the one in the middle, she started her own, consulting company at a really late stage or later stage. And for her, it was really important to take pictures in her favorite park. She goes there like, I think 2 or 3 times a week, walk around, and she knew all her favorite spots in there, and next to that tree and on that bench. And so she had her list in her head, and that was totally fine with me, because then I felt like, okay, she knows the space, she'll be relaxed and comfortable. Yeah. And Rocio, she has, for the ones who don't know her, so she's an illustrator and tutor, and she lives in Lausanne, and she has like her office or like her creative space in her apartment. So her apartment and her office feel like it's one. You know, the whole space is super creative, super bold colors, like she's wearing nicely designed everything. So it made really sense to photograph her there, to also showcase all these things that are around, because they're also her. Like the whole design around it is also her. And I feel like just capturing her in her space made even more sense for the pictures, because then it was even more her signature. These 3 women are examples of women that were really not comfortable in front of the camera. So that means I spend even more time before taking out the camera, maybe 30 minutes to 1 hour before even starting to take pictures. Amina on the left, she's a ceramist. So of course it made sense to take pictures of her doing things. And by taking her, or like by asking her just to do things or her work, it made her comfortable and it relaxed her, because that's her thing, that's what she loves doing. And so I get more like almost like a documentary photography of her doing her thing. Christina in the middle, we talked, I think, for an hour before taking out the camera, and she was really not at ease. But then I just started photographing, and again started nonstop talking and asking questions, and that kind of made her, I guess, more relaxed and more comfortable. And I think at the end, that shot was just an in-between moment where she was just like a little bit like breathing in between, because smiling sometimes also like, it can hurt your mouth muscles. So it was an in-between moment where she just kind of stretched her neck and closed her eyes. And I feel like anytime someone is closing their eyes, it gets really intimate. That's, I think, even more intimate than opening eyes. So that's when I took that photo. And Fanny on the far right, it's a bit like Rocio. She has her creative space in her home. So I knew that taking pictures there would, on one hand, make her really relaxed, and on the other hand, also showcase her whole universe. Next to her drawings, it would also show how she lives and or the space where she creates. So that really made sense to do it there. And I think I captured a few images of her where you can see she's really relaxed and trusting and in her bubble, kind of. These are people who are really comfortable in front of the camera. So like I said before, I don't have to say a lot, and they just move around. It's interesting. I click 2 or 3 times, and then they change position. And then I click 3, 4 times, and then they change position again. So it's like, okay, they just know it. I don't have to do anything. Of course, I need to press the button. But again, even with people who are really comfortable in front of the camera, I just still keep talking. And because, like I said, I feel like it gets more intimate if I just talk with them instead of just silent and just click, click, click. Plus, it's super interesting to know what they're doing. And yeah, well, he doesn't have a choice. He has to be quiet. For now. Yeah, so Angelika, she's a dentist, and she's opening her own, how do you say, own praxis. Yeah. So she needed pictures of herself to put on the website. And she is part of a barista team in a coffee. So also that was in the coffee place. She knows that place. She's super comfortable. She loves her job. And it was just kind of a team photo shooting for the website. And I photographed him for his startup. So again, taking photos of himself, his partner, more like, computers, how do you say, iPhones and stuff like that. So more of a kind of a corporate photo shooting, but you can see that he's really used to it and doing that a lot. So he was really comfortable with me taking photos of him. That's another totally different section, and I love that too. But it's really different than taking pictures of adults. First off, when you arrive, most of them are shy, or they're just intrigued by the camera. So that's, if they're shy, I just kind of show them the camera, let them even take pictures, or have them show me what they like to play. So just slowly gain their trust. But again, if they're super shy, I don't take out the camera for a really long time. And then with kids, it's real, right? They don't. I mean, you can photograph tears, you can photograph kind of crisis, or you can photograph really happy moments, like in the middle. She just got an ice cream before that. So I love it because it's so real, and you cannot tell kids, oh, can you please do that again? That was really nice, but I missed it. So it's, yeah, either you catch it or you don't, and then, but it happens so fast. There's lots of things that you can capture and that you can look at. So they're quite tiring shootings, but they're really rewarding shootings as well. Yeah. So at the end of the day, I think the coolest for me is when someone especially someone who is really shy or who is not comfortable in front of the camera, just tells me, oh my God, I've never seen pictures of me like that, or I was so comfortable, or we have memories of our family that we will cherish forever. That's just kind of the best reward for myself, and yeah, just makes me that just makes me keep going, and makes me feel like I've done the right decisions 2 years ago, like take up the camera and start photographing my own kid. So most of the time we say trust the process, but I think what I've learned the last 2 years, for me, it's better to say the process brings trust, because when you make the whole environment comfortable for the person, and when you get to know the person, then you just kind of make her feel comfortable, make her trust you, and then that's when the really great pictures come out of your camera. That's it. Thanks.
Thank you, Anne. And I just want to say happy birthday. It was her birthday yesterday.
Thanks.
I found out.
Thanks.
She came from Fribourg this morning, so none of us can complain about waking up early. So, do we have any questions for Anne? No question.
I have a question. It's just about Photoshop, because we hear so much now about the person you take the photograph out of is not actually the person you can't trust it's the right person, because the amount of Photoshop that's done.
The retouch.
The retouch.
Yeah.
No, I meant that.
Yeah, no problem.
I don't
Yeah.
terms, but yeah. So, I just find that interesting. How much retouching is too much?
In my opinion, or what I do?
In whatever, as a photographer.
Well, I think that's really a personal question. I myself don't retouch that much. I mean, I change the colors or, kind of add contrast or a little bit of light or take light away, something like that. I'm not going to touch wrinkles or things like that because I feel like this...
What are you talking about?
I just feel like that doesn't make that's not real. But of course, I feel like this whole AI or retouching thing is super interesting. And it's crazy what you can do if you see a real cat and a digitally made cat. It's crazy. I don't see it personally as a threat. Like, I feel like this is going to be a totally new era. And I'm not an expert in it, but I feel like it's going to give amazing new chances to do things. I have some friends who, let's say, if you organize a huge shooting with a huge crew, and ideally it would be sunny, and it's not sunny, or it should be raining, but it's not raining, and then you can add some effects into the picture so the campaign just looks coherent or better, then why not? I mean, there's also companies who don't even do photo shootings anymore because it's too risky in terms of weather if it's outside, or it's too expensive if you have to kind of hire or like rent a space, rent material, rent models, or like hire models, and it can be huge, the productions you have to do. So I feel like it's also a chance for smaller companies who don't have as much budget to just do rendering. So let's say you do the product on your computer and you do kind of the scene with colors, with materials, you just kind of build everything with your computer. So yeah, mostly I see a chance in it. When it comes to, let's say, news, politics and these things, and the picture is misleading truth, then of course it's another topic. Yeah?
When you make photographies, are you interested too in making videos, or it's not the next step, obviously? You know what I mean? Or you are interested by that?
Yeah, we were just talking with him before. I'm not doing video yet, or I'm not doing video just because, as you saw, I started photography really recently. So I still feel like I don't master it how I want it, but I'm not excluding that would be like the next step in the future too.
Because it seems to me it's very fast, you know. When you take photos, then you are very fast attracted by videos. I'm not sure, maybe not everybody.
Me or the person?
The persons in general.
Yeah, I mean, video it's a huge thing at the moment, and most or a lot of things happen through video and not through still images anymore, right? So it would definitely be a great move if I move towards this, or if I could kind of propose both things to people. And I also get requests from people, oh, can you also do video? And it's a thing I'm thinking about. But of course, it's quite tricky. I've been on a lot of big shootings where you have like where still images and video is taken at the same time. Yes. It's really tricky to not get into each other's way, you know? Mm-hmm. Like if you photograph from there and then it's the videographer, suddenly he's in the image or she's kind of disturbing his work. And so it depends. If you want to do things like weddings, you need to be at least two people, right? One is photographing and one is filming, because they're not going to kiss twice or exchange rings twice. So yeah, otherwise, if you do everything by yourself, there's people who do 2 cameras, or there's people who just switch from filming to still life. Yeah, it's a tricky thing how to do it all by yourself, but I'm thinking about it. Yeah.
And I do personally. I'm not a professional at all, but just, you know, sometimes I take videos and then I do print screen to
Yeah, yeah.
But is it something you do? Because it seems it's easier to find the right moment when you're on a video. You know, you can just
Yeah.
the video and
Yeah.
pick
The right moment. Yeah, definitely. I mean, the cameras today are such good filming cameras also that you can definitely do that and just stop at the right time and take a capture, still image of the video. Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
First of all, I want to say I love your work.
Thanks.
Photographers and also for
Thanks.
me, talk was really interesting, and especially about trust. My question is, how did you switch to the business side? I guess having your company helped you in building your photography services as a business as well. So maybe how did you make it work, including photography services, and like make them a part of it?
Yeah, so what I did at the beginning is just photograph people that I knew. Maybe you've done that already. So kind of to build up your portfolio and then it's just show you things. It's like, it just doesn't feel right somehow. It feels like a bit too in your face kind of thing. I get it. I'm like that, but I realized that just showing your work everywhere you can really kind of made the difference, so to say. Also, it really depends on what you're photographing. Some are really specialized into something. I have a friend, photographer, she's specialized in family photography and birth photography. So what she did as a marketing thing is to she did some vouchers with, 10-15% reduction, and she placed them where she knew families are going. So let's say kids stores or birth house, you say? Birth house, doctors, like pediatricians and things like that. So maybe think about who is your client or type A client, and then think about where does he or she go, or how can I kind of catch these people. And then I think she does that really well, better than me. Yeah. Does that answer your question? Yeah. Yep.
So actually I've done some photography.
Yeah.
Maybe not a surprise. And sometimes, like you were saying, sometimes the person doesn't feel comfortable.
Yeah.
And sometimes I've found myself in a situation where I don't feel comfortable.
Behind the camera.
Yeah, well, sometimes I'm learning a new technique, or because I do more video.
Yeah.
Sometimes I get asked to do photo.
Yeah.
Which is not really my field, but I'm like, all right, I'll give it a go. It's different lighting. But then sometimes it's a full team. I have to photograph a full team of people, and all in a different language as well. And I'm like, oh, it's new technical skills, it's a language, it's like all of these people, and they feel uncomfortable, some of them. So they're like, oh, can you make me feel more uncomfortable? I'm like, oh, how do I in another language? And I'm uncomfortable. So I was just wondering, do you sometimes feel uncomfortable?
Yes. Let's be honest.
Okay.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
How do you make yourself become that person that makes them feel comfortable?
Yeah. So let's say if I have to photograph a group, like 10 people at the same, like a group shot, I always do that at the end. Unless it's on a schedule or something like that. But because then I already got to know each of them and I have a kind of a relationship with each of them. If it's just one-to-one, I'm just honest. I'm just like, oh, okay, wait, hang on. The light is a bit tricky here. Let me just kind of figure things out. I always reassure the person, like, you're doing everything great. You look great. Like, it's not your fault. I just need to figure something out on the camera. And the person, anyway, waiting 1 or 2 minutes, who cares? Maybe it's even great. She can go to the toilet or he can just have a break, drink some water. Most of the time, I'm just super honest. And especially also, I bought a new camera in spring. So I'm like, okay, still figuring things out. You know, it feels like this never-ending thing to figure your camera out. And I just say, oh, okay, today I want to learn or like figure something new, learn something new. Is it okay if I test something with you for 5 minutes? And they never said no. So yeah, honesty, I guess.
I have just one thing, if I can add, if that's okay,
Yeah.
to the conversation,
Yeah.
because I had a similar thing also. Sometimes I felt like I was feeling also uncomfortable, and I didn't know how to make that, and especially with the language as well, because we speak here French, and when I came here, I had to
Learn.
French,
Yeah.
so sometimes you get in a situation where you also feel uncomfortable. So what helped me, for example, is to try to take photos of yourself, also with another photographer, so maybe if you have friends and so on, and try to put yourself in the situation of a client, because that changed like the whole thing.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
Because usually I take self-portraits, and you know, when you're with yourself, is not the same. And when I had a photographer take photos of me, it changed everything.
Yeah.
Like, the perspective. Because I was feeling like, oh, I don't want that to be seen. Oh, like this angle is
This
so
side,
bad.
this- yeah.
Oh, this light is no.
Yeah.
This colors don't match my outfit. So I was like, okay, this is completely different.
Yeah.
I think that also helps you to understand better
Yeah.
the client.
It's a good point. I forgot. I ask, well, once a year I have my picture taken. Even like the red slide, even if I really don't like it, I hate being in front of the camera. But I just do it so I don't know. It's like a doctor going to a doctor, right? It's well, so you see how it is, how it feels. Yeah.
Do you feel that this knowledge how to build trust in photography influenced your other services which you provide with?
Yeah, definitely. It's like, sometimes I get clients who ask for photography and they're like, oh, you're doing logos, and then they want the whole thing, right? So that's a positive thing, but definitely now when I get just someone who just wants graphic design, let's say a logo, a website, whatever, I apply the same things. I take time. If it's not possible to meet live because of distance and life, we just do Zoom calls, voice messages, whatever. I just realized it's the effort makes that at the end the product is so much better. And by product I mean the logo, the photography, the website, because most of the time these are people who have a passion and make a business out of it. So it's super personal for them. And if the logo really matches their personality and the product, it's a gain. I mean, for them, it's a gain. They might flourish and their business might grow. And the pictures that you see in the pictures, if someone feels comfortable, then they just look nicer. It's so definitely crossed into all the other sectors. Yeah.
Some of your pictures are color and other ones are black and white.
Yeah.
Do you have any particular way of deciding what this is nicer, black and white than color, or is it just your gut feeling?
Super intuitive. Yeah.
Super intuitive?
Sometimes it's let's say the person has a certain top on and the background is a bit not ideal with the top. But the moment is perfect. I feel like, oh, she's comfortable, he's comfortable. I just need to take the picture now. If I would ask him to change the top, then the whole thing is gone. Then I make it black and white because it just calms the image, right? It just, your eye is more focused on the face or on whatever detail. But other than that, if it's not a clear decision in terms of colors and to make the image quiet, then it's just gut feeling, yeah. And I have clients who just say, oh, can you also give me that image in color? Because black and white is nice, but I also want it in color. That's totally fine, yeah.
Lots of the lighting looks very natural. It looks almost like there's no light involved. Are there
Never.
lights being used?
Yeah, I never use artificial light. Yeah. Mainly because I cannot do it. So that's another thing I would have to learn. I mean, I was on really big photo shootings where there was so much light and stuff, and I feel like it's nice, because now you can film anywhere, but I'm quite minimal, and I like to just be with my backpack, and that's it. And I don't like to. Nowadays there's lots of minimal and compact artificial light that you can take, but I just work with natural light. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Do you feel more comfortable with people, person you already know it, or the ones all you blend first, and which one is easier to build trust while you're thinking?
That's a good question. I don't think it's always easier to know the person already, because sometimes, you know her on a private relationship, but then you have to make business images for her or him. So it's not always easy. And I feel like we always manage together to kind of make cool images. So yeah, it's really individually to the person. Yeah.
Any final questions?
Yeah.
One. How do you coherently market yourself to someone who does kind of triple photography, graphic design, and art direction in kind of an industry where you're pushed to be understood as a creative?
Yeah.
Like, how do you put all of that in one?
In one thing. Yeah. That was a thing that was really criticized at ECAL. I was in industrial design, and I wanted to do a book as a diploma, and they were like, no way, you cannot do that. You're in industrial design, not in graphic design. But I'm like, this is a product. It's like so I totally get it. That was really frustrating to me during studies, that I could not kind of cross over and mix the things. And then it just feels like, for me, it just feels like doing one thing would not be enough, or it would be incomplete, kind of. And I feel like it's actually the demand kind of defines what I'm doing. So the person comes and says, I just need a logo, nothing else, no website. So I just do that. And sometimes they come and start with a logo, and a year later they want portraits. So I really adapt to whatever they need or whatever they want. And for now, it's never been a problem. It was only a problem during my studies, and now I feel like I can fully express the creativity I have in me with all these things. Yeah, does that make sense?
Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Hello, I'm Janan. I'm the co-founder of CoSpire, along with my husband, Lutz, who was here earlier. And I just wanted to welcome everyone here, just to tell you all a bit about the space. For those who haven't been here before, we have half-day passes, day passes. Otherwise, we have memberships, so 5 days a month, 10 days a month, or full-time. So we're happy to always host Creative Mornings whenever they need it, because it's a great community and it really fits with ours. So enjoy.
Thank you. And then our beautiful, beautiful breakfast this morning is by Le Smart Cake. So we have Virma, the founder, with us today, who can talk to us a bit about her business.
Hello, this is Evrim from Le Smart Cake, from Healthy Breakfast Session. And this my healthy journey started. I'm an engineer and a mom, and my healthy journey started with my son's birth. So I tried to. My purpose was to prepare him a healthy and nutritious food for him, and they had to be delicious for him to eat also. So that I started to change the recipes in the ingredients with the healthier options. And then this interest turned to a passion, and this passion just brought me to Le Smart Cake, and where we produce with all natural ingredients, gluten-free, dairy-free, and and low sugar ingredients, and they are all high in nutrition, healthy, and we don't compromise. We don't believe to compromise in taste when you make the healthier options also. But just in the sector, in the market, we have two constraints. We have two struggles that people, mostly the misconception of healthy food, lack of taste, and second one is the tendency to choose easier options, easier and cheaper options, which are packed and industrialized food. And our main ultimate goal is to change the eating habits, actually. We're so small to have a change, but we believe that we're so dedicated to increase the awareness of in our consumers' mind, and you may also demand from bigger brands that you can ask for better choices. We believe that, and I'm so happy to see you all here, and we have still left some snacks, healthy snacks. I'm sure I would like to share them with you also in the end of the day. Yeah, thank you so much, and thank you.
Thank you.